Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining me. This is Hashtag No Limits, and I am your host, Shelley Kino. Hashtag No Limits is about people whose society has placed limits upon, but who have busted through those limits. Ophelia says in Hamlet, "We know who we are, but not who we will be." And I believe that to be 100% true. And I believe that there is no better example of that than the caterpillar turning into the butterfly. The caterpillar literally dissolves into its cells and then reforms into a caterpillar. And as if that wasn't enough struggle, it then has to even struggle more to get out of the cocoon in order for its wings to be strong enough to fly. None of that is an easy task, but neither is busting through the limits that society places upon people. And today, my guest, Rachel Whitaker, has a very unique perspective and one that we have not shared here on Hashtag No Limits. And I'm very excited to get to her. But of course, first I have to go through all the businessy stuff. You know, if you like this, if you like my channel, please be sure to give it a thumbs up, do a subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. Make sure to leave any comments or questions. This one is pre-recorded and you will figure out why as soon as Rachel speaks. And so if you have any comments, though, or you have any questions for her, please put them in the chat and I will be sure to get them to her so she can answer them. And I think that takes care of enough business stuff. So, Rachel, thank you so much for joining me. Good morning.
Good morning from Australia. I'm Shelley.
Yeah, so it's actually evening where I am.
I'm switching between coffees and Coke at the moment because I've had about 4 cups of coffee. So I'm like, I better back off on that a little bit.
Well, you know, at least it's like 8 something, you know, there. And so it's a little later in the morning. I've actually had another person or 2 people on from Australia. And the first one I did, I was up in the middle of the night because I didn't really think about that I could do it, you know, one day here and it be a second day, you know, because for me now it's Friday, but it's Saturday where you are. So don't tell me what happens because I want to experience it for myself.
It's all about the future.
Yeah. So go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself.
So I'm Rachel Whitaker. I'm based in Melbourne, Australia, and I am the inventor and owner of BraEasy. So we invented a bra that you can put on with one hand. And the reason why I invented that was when my daughter was 9 years old, she was diagnosed with a major brain tumor. It was an ogliodendroglioma, which is an adult brain tumor in a child. And during the surgery to remove that brain tumor, she had a deep brain stroke. After 5 years, we got through the cancer, which was 21% survival rate. So we were one of the 21%, which is, I feel very blessed that happened. And I realized that because of the stroke and those residual effects of the stroke, she wasn't able to put a bra on because she could only use one hand. Okay. So I thought, well, there's got to be something out there. So I went searching and searched for years, to be honest, and to the point where I was searching other people's patents to see if perhaps they were manufacturing it some other country and I could go online and buy it from that country, but nothing existed. So I thought, well, I actually have to fix this myself. So I sat at my sewing machine and I invented a bra that she could put on. She was my poor Tess, like, Jamie, try this on. No. Try this on. No. So I don't know how many different iterations we did of it, but we finally landed on a side opening bra that she could just slide over and then do up with one hand. But it took me, for instance, 8 months to find the Velcro because if you're trying to get something to fasten and you don't want a wardrobe malfunction with a bra, ladies, that's never, ever the thing that you want to fail on you.
Exactly.
But you also need to be able to take it off easily. And so there was lots of Velcros that you could fasten quickly, but you could not get that thing open once you closed it. So, it took a long time to find not only a Velcro that functioned easily, that would once it was on, but it was easy to take off, but also that was soft. So you didn't want something like cardboard on the side of you that was going to be scratchy. Right. And so, we found eventually a Velcro that worked. I started then to search for a manufacturer and I ended up connecting with a lady who's an agent in Australia who has connections with hundreds of factories in China and India and Thailand, and she's got factories everywhere. Wow. And then we started to try and get these lingerie manufacturers to actually manufacture it. A lot of them said no. A lot said no. A bra is a 25-piece assemble, so it's the most difficult garment that you can possibly ever have to put together. And if you've ever tried to do it yourself, I can get why they would say no. It took me a long time. So we would trial these different manufacturers, sending this same sample. Can you do this? Can you do this? Finally landed on one that said yes. So then it was 6 months of bras going back and forth between China and Australia. No, you've done this. No, you've done that. No, it's not functioning properly. It's quite technical, this bra. So there's boning in the back that helps support it so that the wings are sitting out to the side so that the bra is in a place that somebody can grab it. Then we got the manufacturer right. Finally, it was a long journey. And I flew in December 19 to China to do the quality check. Because no one had ever made this bra before, nobody could actually do a quality check for me.
Oh,
so I had to physically go there for 3 days, and I rejected the one entire colour because they'd done the wrong thing with the straps. The elastic was wrong. And then they shipped me the white so then we could actually start. So that was about 2 years ago now. We're getting on 2 years that we kicked off with BraEasy. And during that time, my mother-in-law, who at the time was, I think, how old was she then? I think she was 89. She had a frozen shoulder. And it was her wanting one of those bras as well that really triggered in my head, hang on a minute, there's a bigger need than just Jamie. I could have made bras for Jamie for the rest of her life and not have to worry about anything, give her the capability that I wanted her to have. But then when I realised there was a bigger need, that's when I really dove in and started to, make connections with these, overseas factories and whatnot. But it's been a journey, that's for sure.
Yeah, and kudos to you for sticking with it and not taking the no's. But continuing on and asking, because it is, I think of so many people that for lots of different reasons, are only able to use one hand to fasten their bra. And unfortunately, it is something that we women need, but it isn't something that is discussed. As I told you before we came on, this episode is somewhere in the 80s, depending on when I get it aired. And I've never talked to anyone about this before, not even on a personal level, and I just think for the special needs community, the implications that this can have are huge. I spoke with a designer from the UK a few months ago who is also making adaptive clothing, because there are so many things that those of us who don't have those needs don't think about.
Yep.
And so to me, when I saw that you were doing this, and I don't even know how I found you, and it was many months ago that I found you, and I thought,
it was a year ago. Then we've been busy.
This is something that it isn't talked about.
No.
And I don't think it's because it's a shameful thing. I think it's just another one of those areas that people just don't think about.
Yep.
And so for you to have that experience with your daughter, and how is she doing now, by the way?
Fantastic. So she's 22 now.
Oh, wow.
There is some newer issues that have come up. She's as she's grown, her what are they saying? As she's grown, her brain is growing, and the scar tissue from where she had the tumor is stretching, and that's now caused her to have epilepsy.
Oh.
So she's on major medications. A few, or was it 2 months ago, she had a major seizure and fell over. She was walking at the time, fell over and broke her arm in 2 places.
Oh.
So then we were in hospital, and you just don't want to go to hospital while COVID's going on. Like that's just it's walking into the lion's den of diseases and stuff, isn't it? Yeah. So we're very protective, and we don't go out. Like Melbourne's been in lockdown, I don't know, most of just about 2 years, it feels like.
Yeah.
But we don't go out. If we do, it's all mask up, just because we need to protect her. We're all vaccinated, but you can still get it even if you're vaccinated. So until they actually find a cure, we just are in hyper alert at all times just to keep her safe.
I bet. So I wasn't anticipating talking to you about your daughter's specifics. However, since you brought that up, were there things that, besides the bra issue, that she's busted through limits that people have placed upon her because of having the tumor? First of all, the fact that it was a 21% survival rate and she survived it.
They said that she was going to be a vegetable when she woke up from the surgery. The stroke was so bad. So the tumor was attached to one of the arteries in her brain, so one of the 3 major arteries. And so as soon as they touched it, that's when the bleed started. And they said to me, she's going to be a vegetable when she wakes up. She probably won't be able to move, most likely won't be able to speak. And I just said, we'll see what we get when she wakes up.
Yeah.
Because I didn't believe that, I don't know, I just had this belief that she was going to wake up and be fine. And when she woke up, she woke up and she just gave me attitude because she still had the air tube down her throat.
Yeah.
My ex-husband's parents were both deaf, so my kids can do sign language, I can do sign language. And so she started to sign to me, like, get this out. And the nurse turned to me and said, oh, is she deaf? I said, no. But she was trying to sign with one hand, so she realised at that point she couldn't move her other hand.
Oh, okay.
So then she was getting even more frustrated. So I just explained to her what they said had happened, which she raised her eyebrows at. And then they said, okay, we can take the air tube, the breathing tube out now. But that was probably like a 12-hour period just to get her out of that, because they put her in a coma for 10 days. So we were in ICU in a coma for 10 days. A forced coma, just for her brain, the swelling to go down.
Right.
And we don't put any limits on Jamie. It's, Jamie, what do you want to do? Where do you want to be? She's planning to move out of home at the moment, which is like, we're all freaking out as parents. But
yeah, I have a 22-year-old, same thing.
Yeah. So, she's saving up her money. She's got an idea of, where to go get furniture and things that she wants to have. So she's going to set it all up nicely, how she's going to have support people coming to help her and be with her at different times when she would need it. It's been very eye-opening for me that she's just like looking at the future and this is what's going to happen. I'm like, okay, we're going to help you do whatever you want to do, doll.
That's awesome. And how did she do in school? How did this affect her in her schooling?
So she was in regular school until the seizures started to happen. Mm-hmm. And then she had the surgery, and at that point she had to have radiotherapy. So after a month and a half, the tumor, what was left of the tumor, started to grow again. So they said, we need to give her radiotherapy, or we tried chemo first. Chemo, they gave her 2 rounds. Both times she bled out the pores of her skin. So they said,
gosh,
she's having a really bad reaction. I said, you think? And they had to give her plasma, just because it was just so bad. And that was supposed to be a chemo that most kids take and go to school, have no residual side effects whatsoever.
Oh, wow.
So she had a really bad reaction. So they said, well, our only other option now is radiotherapy. So we had 6.5 weeks every single day, this double beam machine that they've got. We're really blessed in Melbourne that we've got all of the best medical equipment in the world, and we've got some of the best doctors for neurology and cancer. So that's been really, like, the fact that we live where we live, to be able to access all of those for her to have the best chance of recovery. And the radiotherapy seemed to do the job. But from that, she has short-term memory loss. She has, what do they call it? Some of these words, they're just too big. Pan something or other. So she's got left side hemiplegia, which is then turned into all of these other things as well, because her pituitary gland isn't working and generating all of those hormones. So we're on hormone therapies. The list goes on, really. The tablets that she has most people would be like, that's enough for breakfast.
Wow.
But that's what it
Yeah.
is right now. And it changes. It changes.
Yeah. In my book, Those Who Can't Teach, one of the chapters, the young man in the chapter, Michael, he at one point, he was on like 60 some medicines every day.
Yeah.
And yeah, he's way less than that now. I think he might be down to like 5 or something. I mean, it's
wow.
incredible the change and different things, different therapies and surgeries and whatnot that they've been able to do to help take care of the things that the medicine had to help take care of previously.
Yeah. Yeah. So she struggled with the tablets for a bit. Like everything we talked about is really in years. Probably 3 years. She really struggled. The fact that she had to take so many tablets, was very resistant to it. Yeah. The short-term memory played a part in that. So we'd have to get her iPhone and put reminders on for times, because especially the seizure meds have to be taken exactly 12 hours. So you can't really, like, I get up early and I wake her up to make sure that she's had her tablets at the right time in the morning. And then during the day, she knows now she has to come and tell us when she's had them.
Okay.
Or I'm going to start chasing. I'm just going to start chasing to see, have you done that? Yep. Okay. Good. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. That's so important. And so what other kinds of, so the iPhone and putting those alarms in there, or those alerts in there for the medicines, what other sorts of like accommodations and things were you able to get for her within the school system? Or
so she went to then a new school, which was a special school, which were they're just amazing. The things that they help these kids with, and the funny stories that Jamie would come home with. So there's a whole term about wheelies and walkers, and I'm like, what? And she said the wheelies, so the kids in the wheelchairs, would run over the kids who were walking if they didn't get out quick enough, get out of the way quick enough. Like, oh, okay. Then she said, I got hit by another wheelie again today, Mum. I'm like, okay. But that was the games that they would play at that school. Right. Like the kids would just make a joke out of it. And Jamie's got friends still to this day that she's remained connected with. They do some amazing things, and they had some amazing learning tools that they would use for people with vision impairment or low vision. So a massive board that would be as big as probably bigger than this window behind me, which is quite a big window. Mm-hmm. It's an electronic board that somebody with vision impairment can actually stand at and use it as a touch screen to be able to navigate and do all the things that they need. I'm like, oh, that's bloody good, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, yeah, just amazing technology that they're using, and they're very, very in tune with how each of the kids learn, how each of the kids need different support in different ways, and the different strengths that they all had. It was just, really, really, really good.
And I love what you just said, the different strengths that they have. They really focused on those. Here in the United States, our special education system seems to be more focused on the weaknesses and the deficits. And so we have this document that drives our special education here, which is called an IEP, an Individualized Education Program. And when we have a meeting every year, there's at least one of those meetings where we talk about, okay, so these are the things that the child still needs to work on, and these are the things that the child still has a deficit in. And we get so focused on that in this meeting that we often forget to tell the parents how wonderful their child is and the strengths that they have and the great things about them. Now, it is designed that we are supposed to do that.
Yeah.
And people tend to say one or two things that is a positive or a strength. And then they jump into, well, this is what we have to work on, and this is what we need to talk about today. And so part of what I do is trying to kind of shift that mindset a little bit of, they wouldn't be in special education if they didn't learn differently than everybody else. But that doesn't necessarily mean that's a deficit. It just means they need a different strategy, a different path to get to where they're going. And so,
but them as individuals and us as parents need to be able to hear about all the great things and be able to cheer their successes on. It's it's great that we all have challenges, regardless of
We
whether you've
do.
got a disability or not. We all have challenges. So if you can have someone who's your champion, who's shouting your praises for all of the great things that you've achieved, then you want to hear that too. It doesn't
Yeah.
have to be the negative all the time.
Yeah, absolutely. And that is something definitely that I think here in the United States we need to work at and get better at, because there's been too many meetings where parents leave in tears
Yeah, that's
because
awful.
the whole meeting has just been, well, your child can't. And that's why the book is titled the way it's titled,
Yeah.
because the whole book is about people who were told they can't in some way.
Yep.
And a lot of that, unfortunately, came from the education system, that because that's where kids spend the majority of their time outside of home. And,
so we've now got additional support. So in Australia, they have a that's called the National Disability Insurance Scheme. So it's how the government provides extra funding for people with disabilities to be able to do additional things. So with helping them with their living, helping them with their goals. So if they want, so Jamie wants to move out of home, so they will assist her with funding for different, what's a good word for it? Tools that she might use within the home that will help her because of her disabilities. They'll make sure that she's in a, say, a single story that doesn't have stairs if you're in a wheelchair. Like, they'll help with all of those bits and pieces. Part of the National Disability Insurance Scheme is they get access to all of these different funding. So she can get an iPad or an iPhone supplied to her for free by the government, because she uses that as a tool to help her remember and to do things. So that's her communication
awesome.
tool.
Yeah.
So with NDIS is what we call it here in Australia. A lot of providers will go to NDIS and get approved by the government, or try to get approved by the government, so that they can actually then provide their product to a person with a disability. My bra company, BraEasy, is the only bra company on the NDIS provider list that is approved, so that any woman in Australia who's on a disability pension or as part of the NDIS can get our bra for free. There's no out-of-pocket expenses for them whatsoever.
That is amazing. And so, speaking of your website, I'm going to pull it up really quickly. And I want to share, so I want my viewers to see it, but I also want to share this little video. And then this is the BraEasyUSA.com.
That's right.
But I know, and maybe you can guide me if it is, it's not going to be on this page because it's the NDIS. I know you had something about NDIS on your...
on BraEasy.com, that's the Australian, or it's actually global. What I found is women were struggling with the bra sizes. So let's just make it harder with bras, right? We'll put two different sizes in all these different countries, so that we go, I don't even know what a 32 is.
Right.
Because in Australia we use 12, 14, 10, those sorts of sizes.
Okay.
And then if you go to Europe, where's my list? That's even worse. It's even worse in Europe. So Europe's are like 55, 60. A 55
oh my goodness.
Europe is a 26 US, 26 UK, a 70 in Spain, and a 4 in Australia.
Oh my gosh. Yes, because exactly what you said. We need to make this more difficult.
Yeah. So I had BraEasy.com, which is where we started. That's our first website. And I found that all of my US customers were really struggling with the Australian sizes, even though my size chart sort of showed them how to convert it and all of that good stuff. And then there's that additional, the currency is different, so you really don't know what you're going to pay at the end. And I didn't like that. So just not even 6 months ago, I made the new BraEasyUSA.com website, because then it's in US currency, it's in US sizes, and it made it much, much easier for women to then go and purchase. So, and to be honest, the NDIS stuff has no relevance to any other country other than Australia. So I figured that's why the sites are a little bit different, because one is helping to inform Australian NDIS participants that they could do this, and BraEasy USA is just the bras and the functionality and the features. So we make sales on both. Sometimes we still get US customers placing orders on the BraEasy.com site, but obviously they're used to it. And we've got more designs. So this that you've got up now, that's the Jamie range. So that's our lace cup bra. We've also got the Erin range, is my other daughter's name, who's also a redhead. The Ginger Ninja, we call her.
I like that a lot.
yeah, the Ginger Ninja. So, and that's a foam cup. And then the latest one now is we've got a new one called the Kate, which is a sports bra, but it also could be used as a training bra for younger girls because the sizes are a bit smaller.
Mm-hmm.
So if you've got a child who struggles, one, that's their first bra that they need to put on, they don't have to go through the awful experience that you and I did where you're in a changing room trying to put the thing together. You can't see anything. And, if you've got only one hand, that's just not happening.
Right. So is there a video with this middle one?
So the middle one is the explainer video. So it just goes through the features and functions of the bra itself. There's no person in it. And then the right one is, I said to Jamie, you're an expert at this. You do this in seconds. Can you just put your back to the camera because we want it to be very PG? And I don't want my daughter regretting things. I'm thinking how old she was I think she was 20 when she did this.
Oh, wow.
But she does look very young because of the hormones and that sort of thing.
Oh, sure. So I just do want to show this really quick. I think it is only 10 seconds or something long. So
it's really quick.
Yeah. That's incredible. And so Jamie. Awesome that it is so easy. So let me get, what am I doing?
You go back out of it.
Okay. So there's your Australian one. And here's the disability stuff. You have the quote request and the NDIS. And so
we've changed that now to make it even easier.
Really?
Yeah. So what was happening is the participant would fill in the form and then I would go into Shopify and create the customer account and then create the order and then send them and their OTs and their plan manager the invoice so that everybody was across it. And I just felt like it was too slow because it was relying on me having to type all this stuff in. And so now I've put in a new app that basically you can, regardless of whether you're paying or not, you can go in there, create your customer account, place your order for what you want. It immediately sends you the invoice.
Oh.
And it's ticked as cash on delivery. So I just changed the date to whenever the funds are arriving and they can go ahead and they know. For me, it's like I want people to achieve and see success when they're doing things. So it was really important for me that they didn't have to wait for me to send them the invoice, that they could get it straight away. So that was why I've implemented that. That's been probably 2 months. Since I did that, we've had hundreds of sales. Hundreds. So
that is awesome.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's just, again, it's such an amazing product and such I'm sure a liberating product for
the
many,
emails
many
we get
women.
is just very hard. I get very teary sometimes when I get some of these emails that say, I've been looking for this for 12 years. Why didn't anyone invent it earlier? And it's always, why wasn't this around before? And so I really understand, and that's why I really dug in. Once I started to see the value that this was going to bring and the changes, it doesn't matter if we're not making money at this stage. Like, it's going to be a while before we break even, I'm sure. But that's not what it's about. It's about changing women's lives. So I know that we're doing that, and I know we're successful at that. So that's what keeps me going.
That is just incredible. And so tell us a little bit about what you do during the day, as we talked about before we went on air, that you have, this is sort of your second life, what you're doing with BraEasy.
Yeah. So during the day, I've worked in IT projects for, I don't know, I'm going to show my age, probably 20 years now. And so I work for one of the biggest retailers in Australia and New Zealand, actually. And you guys, somebody said to me what it was similar to. Home Depot.
Okay.
It's similar to Home Depot.
Yep.
And so I work in projects for that business and have for a couple of years now. Before that, I was with Australia Post for quite a few years. And so it seems to be IT projects for major retailers seems to be my thing at the moment. But that keeps me really busy. What I do like about it is, and I mentioned to you, I get up at 6 o'clock in the morning every morning, regardless of Saturday, Sunday, because I can work on BraEasy from 6:30 until 9. Then I log on to my other job, day job. Then I'll log off at 5 o'clock, and then I'll log back onto BraEasy at night time, and then work on the weekends as well. So it's just until the business gets it into a position where it can pay its own way, it's kind of, we're a family business. A hubby, he's the good packer. I'll pick and check the orders because sometimes he doesn't quite get it right. And I'm like, no, I'll be doing this part. But then I'm really bad at the sticky taping of the boxes. So we've got it down. We're working on our skills.
Awesome. Yeah. And I wanted you to talk about that because I have a website for what I do, but it has taken me forever to get it. And then I'm always, tweaking this and tweaking that as I learn more about how websites are. And then you said you developed an app, and I was like, okay, she's, my viewers need to know she's not just an app. Not that people who are outside of IT couldn't do these things, but like you said, you did the USA website and, just a few months ago. And, so that sort of stuff.
A day.
Oh gosh.
But I also, the thing I'm really proud of is that we rank organically number 1 on Google for adaptive bra. That's because I've written 83 pages of content that support that.
Wow.
So it's like I have to schedule all the social media for not just BraEasy Instagram, but also the One-Handed Bra Instagram, which is to our medical professionals, OTs, hand therapists, so that they understand there's something for their clients, and we get lots of referrals from that as well. And BraEasy is more about B2C, so the customer. So it's about how the customer feels and what's going to do for them. So that takes me a couple of hours on a Saturday to schedule the social media for the whole week. And then, we're a well-oiled machine. I don't go out anywhere. So COVID's been helpful because it really hasn't changed anything for me.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's an interesting comment. I've actually, I've seen a meme come around every once in a while through my social media about, you found out how reclusive you were when COVID hit and your schedule didn't change much.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and my daughter, Erin, we said that she's been preparing for this for her whole life because she always was really reclusive.
Right.
She loved to sit and play games and,
Yeah. And sadly, some of that is not by choice.
No.
A lot of that does come from having somebody with a disability that society doesn't always do well.
Yeah, and she wants to have conversations and talk about things. And with the NDIS, she gets a support worker a couple of times a week that can take her to her OT appointments and physio appointments. So that's been really good. In the past, we were doing that. And so as parents, we were all taking turns at taking Jamie to different appointments. And then each of us would have to give the update to the others. Or we had a book at one stage where we capture all the notes so that each person knew what to do. So at the moment, for the last, how long? Probably the last 10, 12 years, Jamie, when I separated from her father when she was younger, Jamie goes between his house and my house for a week. And so I get a week of respite and then he gets a week of respite. So that kind of works and it helps to keep us all over. But it's a full-time job for all three of us to keep it all on track and remember what's next. And we have a spreadsheet of all of our appointments and we've got a spreadsheet of all of our medications. So there's always something to do.
Yeah. I'm really glad that you brought that up because that is something too that I really haven't, it's talked about in my book, but I don't know that we've really talked about it in any of the other episodes of how many pieces are in play at all times for a family who has a special needs person. And I keep interchanging whether I say special needs or disability, and not being in the world myself, I don't know what is your preferred terminology.
So from what I understand with the community and what Jamie says is what she prefers is just that person with a disability.
Okay.
They don't use special needs anymore. They said they find that offensive in Australia, which I was surprised. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah. And here in the
But, like,
United States, there's
that's the typical schedule of her things,
wow.
of where
Is
she's
that
going and what she's doing.
is that for a week, for a month, for a day?
What's this one till August?
Oh, okay.
So that we're very organised up front, so that Jamie can fit other things in between.
Well, sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but that
yeah,
changes every other week.
Yeah. I'm sure, because things get rescheduled and
Yeah,
different things happen, and but yeah, just having that, and yeah, the whole conversation of what is preferred is happening here in the United States as well, and unfortunately, it's causing a lot of complications and divisions because
Yep.
groups within one sector, that, the people who refer to themselves as people with special needs or people with disabilities are now upset because somebody's saying
Yeah,
a disabled person, or, and it's like, oh my goodness. So I do not mean to offend in any way,
No.
shape, or form. And
No.
so I appreciate you saying that what she prefers, because
Yeah.
truly, for those of us who are not living that life, it, it's
and
not
that's
up to them.
changed. It's changed over the last, probably 10 years.
Yeah.
And I just think it's more Jamie's community feels more able to be vocal about what they want, how they want things to be interpreted, and how they want things to be said. There's a huge furor about ableism, and so sometimes, regardless of whether you've got a disability or not, we all get these keyboard warriors. They're just, and I just try to stay away from, especially with our social media. I stay away from those topics because, one, I don't think that I'm educated enough to speak to it. Nor will I comment on anyone else speaking to it, because if you've got such a passion about that topic, then that's your opinion, and what am I going to say?
Right.
So I do stay away from those topics. There are other disability marketplaces that talk highly on sex for people with disabilities. Again, I don't talk about that. Jamie's 22. We're not there, and she's got a boyfriend, but that's it. And I don't want to But at the end of the day, it's like, how much do we want to share of her life? And that's up to her, because she's allowed to be private, and she's allowed to share as much as she does, as she wants to. So sometimes she wants to do a reel on Instagram and speak her truth. And I'm like, Jam, when you want to do that, you just tell me and we'll do it. I don't go fishing her to do things like that, because I don't want her in 20 years' time to say, Mum, you didn't protect me. You didn't look after me and keep me safe from this social media world. So everything that I get her to do, for instance, the video of her putting it on, I said, Jamie, do you want to do this? It took 3 years before I felt comfortable. No, it was probably 2 years before I felt comfortable for her to actually do that. Yeah. And so we practiced it to make sure that there was no embarrassing moments. And she, that 10-second video, she got frustrated a number of times because she was standing so close to the wall, and then that made it harder for her. And I'm like, okay, we need to work this out. So it was just, as she was able to do things, as she felt comfortable. I'm at the end of the day, I'm a mum, and I don't want to regret anything that we do or put out there. And she needs to be protected. So that's my job.
Yeah. So the other video you said, that middle video, you said that was like showing. Okay. So I do want to share that one, just to kind of, because well, I guess, is it a little bit longer than 10 seconds?
Not much. It's not much. I think it's 30 seconds.
Okay. Well, that might give, because the first video, it showed how to do it. This might give them a little, and it was so fast. This might give a little bit better idea of kind of what it's like. So I'm going to share that with everybody. Maybe. Oh, I have to press play again. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, there we go. bit jerky, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's very
Awesome.
beautiful.
Yeah. So because I looked away for a second and then I looked back and it said both sides. So there's Velcro on either side. So no matter if it's that you need to put it on over with your right hand or your left hand, you can do it.
And part of the reason, so there was I did a lot of research when I was designing. I'm like, okay, it's not just for Jamie. Otherwise, it'd just make a right-sided, no, left, which one? Right-sided bra that she can put on and we're done. So my mother-in-law had a frozen shoulder on the opposite side, but she also had arthritis in her hands. So on some days, one hand would be working, and other days the other hand would be working. So I said to hubby, I don't want to make this left or right-sided bras. I think that's crazy because people have changes and we're not accommodating that. It also helps if you're if the person is in a wheelchair, because Jamie was in a wheelchair for a good period of time, that there's no fastenings on the back, so it's not uncomfortable and there's nothing rubbing in the middle of your back. So it's easy for you as a carer if you had to put it on somebody who didn't have functioning arms at all, and it's so easy for the person to put it on themselves and pick which side it works for them on that day. So that was part of the reason why I did it on both sides.
I loved what you just said, that as a caregiver, you can help put it on and it's easy because somebody who isn't able to use their arms still needs a bra.
Yeah.
And we also,
you don't want to be touching them up.
Area we don't think about.
Yep. No, I've really, I wanted to be really considerate that it would help as many women as possible.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like you have done a phenomenal job of thinking of all of those aspects and thinking about all the different, what am I trying to say? All the different people and abilities that they have that could benefit from this. And so now that you've been doing this for a few years, have you heard of any other companies around the world that have a similar product?
So what's the name? Intimately Co. have just brought out, it's got some sort of hook, like a loop or something at the bottom. Okay. And I think it's magnets, but I'm not quite sure.
Okay.
Alba Bra, London, they've been going for quite some time, and for a long time Intimately Co. were just selling theirs, but since they've brought their own, I think they've dropped Alba Bra. Any other bras? I think that's it at the moment. But
so what I'm hearing you tell me is it's not in the United States. Nobody in the United States has come up with something like this.
No.
And that's very sad to me.
Yeah.
Obviously because of where I live, but because I know that, well, in general, I think it's 15% of the worldwide population is a person with a disability.
Correct.
And there are 6 or 7 million students in our school systems in the United States that are persons with disabilities. And, I don't know the exact percentage, but, even if it's 25% females, they may need this type of object and this type of accommodation. And so I'm very thankful that you have a website that is set up for right here in the United States and that people can find. And I'm going to pop that back up again so that it is BraEasyUSA.com. A lot of vowels in there. But
yeah, there is. It's a bit of a super vowels, isn't it?
Yeah, it kind of looks like a whole, like if you don't separate it out to what it is. But just remember, it's BraEasyUSA.com. And yeah, you can find what you need here in the United States. It's such just one of the reasons I do this show is to change cognitive biases that we all have. It's just our way of our brain sort of protecting us because we're always getting millions of bits of information. And so our brain sticks stuff together in order to categorize it as quickly as possible. And we develop these biases without meaning to in a lot of instances. And then we have them and we don't challenge them. We don't think about them. And so that is part of why I do this, is to try to bring awareness and challenge those biases, and to also, like your product, there may be people that are watching this here in the United States that are going to go, where was this 12 years ago?
Yeah,
Or,
exactly.
what a
Exactly.
godsend this is. And I'm so appreciative. Like I said, I don't know how I found you. I'm so glad that I found you. And I wish you a tremendous amount of continued success. It
Thank
sounds
you
like
so much.
you have already gotten a great deal of success with this. I always try to end by giving my guests the opportunity, is there anything else that you would like to say or share, or, words of encouragement?
Yeah. So some of the things that I do on the side as well, I'll go to, say, when Clubhouse was more popular, I used to go into the fashion designer rooms in Clubhouse, trying to educate young designers to consider the fastenings that they're using in these garments that they're trying to design, because they are really locking out a whole section of our community who can never then wear those clothes because of the fastenings that they've chosen. So just to be more inclusive with the fastenings, it will give them a much bigger spread of the populace that will actually want to purchase their garment. But I want Jamie to be able to go to a shop and buy clothes and be fashionable and she's got her own sense of style. She tells me what to wear half the time. But it's not okay that we don't accommodate for everybody. Right. And there's no, like with the technology we've got today, there's no reason why that can't change. And so I keep just shouting to the designers. I think they would invite me to come and speak quite often about all of these sorts of inclusive garments and adaptive clothing and whatnot. But I try and look at what's the opportunity where I can speak out to open up someone's mind so they can see there's a lack of, or it could be better, because then if you're providing that sort of value, you're educating someone and you're making the world a better place.
Right.
So take the opportunity. Yeah, that's all I can say. Take the opportunity to voice some of this stuff because people just don't understand.
Yeah, you're right. And absolutely. And it is just a matter of looking at things a little bit differently. You've done the work as far as the Velcro is concerned. What works, what doesn't, what's best. And I did notice on your site that you have, most of the bras that I saw at least were front fastening.
That's the new ones that we've put on.
Side. Yeah, and they had like zippers.
I got a lot of requests for those sorts of front fastening bras as well. So I'm like, well, I need to offer things that people want. And so not everybody needs a side opening bra, but they do want a bra that's easy to put on. So front fastening still comes under that category. So the recent things we've added on in the Australian site, and I was working on the US one this morning, we've got easy sleepwear, easy activewear, bamboo period menstrual undies.
Oh.
So that, leg-proof undies. And then the front fastening, front closure bra with and without underwire because people want both. Right. And we've got, sports bras, wide leg pants for people who've got a prosthetic or they need to add an AFO to their leg so it hides that and they can still be working out. So I'm just thinking about all of the different things that women would need that makes them feel more comfortable in the activities that they want to do.
Yeah, I don't know if you can hear me clicking, but I was just going to try to possibly quickly, but I don't see it. I'm still seeing all the bras, the sleepwear that you talked about.
Yeah, I just was finding it this morning. I've got a couple of different items. I did have some on, but they sold out, so I've taken that off the side at the moment. Yeah, it was like, okay, that was quick. We've had a couple of bras that the range sold out of the front closures. So we're just trying to find alternate options for people. So, right.
And if stuff is selling out that quickly, that means that there is a market and a need.
Oh yeah,
and so that's just incredible. And I thank you so much for joining me on your Saturday morning, my Friday evening.
Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, I'm so happy to get to know you and to have this opportunity to learn because, again, myself, this was not an area that I had really thought about. And I consider myself somebody who does think a lot outside the box, especially when it comes to persons with disabilities. That is my passion. I'm a former special education teacher, and with the book that I have and what I do now, I'm truly trying to educate and broaden everyone's perspectives. And
have you got your book there today?
I do. Yeah.
Hold it up. Come on.
I will. It's over here. It's a stack of stuff. So yeah, this is it. Those who can't teach. Got kind of the teacher background, the chalkboard. And yeah, so it's available for anybody who's watching in Australia. It's available through my website, through Kindles. You can get it. I've got the digital downloads, but I probably wouldn't mail you a copy because it would cost like a small fortune.
Supposedly it's really hard at the moment. Yeah, sending books.
Yeah. And so, but it is available, Amazon and it is available worldwide through different companies and stuff like that. So, so thanks for that. But yeah, and so I just think if I have all of this knowledge and I still don't know all that's available, there's no way that other people know all of these things.
No.
And so to try to keep that education going, as a teacher, I'm always trying to educate and I'm always trying to learn myself. And so, I very much appreciate what you are doing and so much appreciate you being here today.
Thank you.
And I hope you have a wonderful, great rest of your day. And for everybody else, join me next week. I can't tell you who's going to be on because I'm not sure when this one is airing. So
be a surprise.
Yeah, exactly. Thanks so much, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Hey, parents and teachers, are you tired of IEP meetings that feel like a battle? Let's put an end to the tension and create a collaborative, calm, and respectful environment together. Shelley Keno, your go-to IEP consultant, can transform your meetings into positive and productive experiences. With Shelley Keno, your child is her top priority, your voice is heard, and you become confident. Shelley Keno is making the world better for all, one IEP at a time. Visit www.shelleykeno.com for more information and set up your free 20-minute consultation today. That's shelleykeno.com, SHELLEYKENOW.